What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about the Sneakers app. The Sneakers app is one of the most polarizing elements of sneaker culture. If you take away the things like resale and reps, which everybody talks about, the Sneakers app tends to be the thing that people like to complain about the most. I think the reason being is that when the Sneakers app was created in 2015 or around that time, I believe Nike's idea was that it was going to feel like Nike's one-stop shop for sneaker culture to go and get the shoes that they want. This was around the time that direct-to-consumer started happening for Nike and around the time that sneaker culture started to really pick up in terms of mainstream credibility. The Sneakers app, in my opinion, was created so that people could feel like they could go someplace to get the shoes, and also I believe Nike's attempt at sort of creating a hub for culture, at least the part of sneaker culture that we all think about, where people could go to learn about history, but at the end of the day, they wanted to make sure that people had a way to get the shoes. All of the retailers were sort of tailoring their own releases, and Nike was losing a little bit of control with how they were able to present the shoes. So they took that control back by creating the Sneakers app. Recently, Nike made headlines by firing 90% of the staff that worked on the Sneakers app. The internet went crazy, social media started coming up with all sorts of conspiracy theories, and people were wondering, what is the future for the Sneakers app? The reason I think people complain about the Sneakers app is because I believe that what people really feel like is missing from the Sneakers app is not necessarily the shoes or the access, but I think people are looking for fairness. And the Sneakers app has never really been about fairness. Reason being is because supply and demand is what dictates whether people get the shoes that they want or not. And on the Sneakers app, with everybody feeling as if that's the one place that's going to have the most stock, and most of the time it is, you're just going to have too many people going out for the same shoes. And Nike does not make, and on purpose most of the time, enough supply to make sure it keeps up with the demand. So people go to the Sneakers app hoping this is their moment, this is the time. I'm going to get the got it notification.
This is it! This is the sign!
And they come up empty-handed with the you didn't get it. And usually what happens is you see on social media people complaining about the lack of fairness and the lack of transparency with the Sneakers app. Yes, there is a lack of transparency. We don't really know how it works. We don't really know what the algorithm prioritizes in terms of who gets what shoes and why certain people get lucky. But one of the reasons being is because there's just so many people going after it. Over time, they have implemented methods like draws to make it feel a little bit more fair. But again, at the end of the day, too many people, too little shoes. What does the firing of 90% of the staff mean for the Sneakers app? I don't think it means anything in the short term. I think that the Sneakers app is here to stay for at least a little bit, but I do believe that Nike is looking at their identity and trying to figure out what they want to be. Do they want to be a culture hub, or do they want to be just about the mass consumerism of shoes? If the latter is the case, the Sneakers app doesn't need to exist at all. If people don't care about the cultural elements or the ways in which Nike has tried to apply the culture or at least appease the culture within the Sneakers app, then they're going to get rid of it because it doesn't really need to exist. They can make sure that those shoes are presented and available on Nike.com all day long. And so I do wonder if at some point in time, this move is going to not only save the company money, but it is going to move them in a different direction, and it is going to move them away from the Sneakers app. That is the general consensus on social media, is that the Sneakers app is no longer going to be a part of the game. Many people rejoice and think that this is the way that it's going to change, and many people feel that maybe this is where fairness comes into play. I think at the end of the day, whether the Sneakers app is here or not, the question we have to ask ourselves is, did the Sneakers app fail? If Nike's intent about the Sneakers app was to make it a main hub and to make it feel as if it's a one-stop shop, did they succeed? Is the Sneakers app a failure just in the fact that despite its 11-year run so far, many people complain about it and it doesn't feel like what Nike intended it to be? I ask you, what is it that you wanted out of the Sneakers app? What do you currently want out of the Sneakers app? And do you think that these firings and the future of the Sneakers app is up in the air, and maybe someday soon, Nike's gonna move away from it? I hope this finds everybody well. I hope this finds everybody safe, and I wish everybody future wins on the Sneakers app for as long as it stays here. I'll talk to you next time.